What's up, everybody? Coach Brian back with our vision training series. We're talking about saccades today. So saccades are when you jump your eyes from one target to another target. We want to challenge these with using different directions, also using different body positions eventually, and upping the intensity with speed. So bringing in tools like maybe a metronome, so you have an external tempo helping to drive your speed. How fast should these be? You might start out at about 90 to 100 beats per minute, work up to at least 120 beats per minute, maybe upwards to like 140, 150 even beats per minute. So you'll also want to make sure that you're testing something like your balance, your range of motion. Make sure that you're doing these in a way that's making your movement better, not worse. If it's making you worse, we're probably progressing a little too far, a little too fast, and we want to just pull that back a little bit. So we've laid out a program specific for how much to practice weekly. Some of the cool benefits I haven't really gone into yet in this series, but I wanted to lay those out for you in a longer form video. There's going to be cognitive benefits. There's going to be things that you should notice, improvements in balance, improvements in as you do these. Also, when you build resilience into the visual system, you'll improve energy levels, you'll build capacity not just to do these exercises, but also just your general day-to-day stuff. We have to move the eyes around throughout life. Yeah, of course. We want to see things well. Yes, of course. But most people don't think to intentionally train the visual system to make it better, and yet you can. So I think it's a huge miss if we don't actually take some time to build intensity and progression into how we're training the eyeballs. So saccades, what do you need for these? You need 2 visual targets. It could be your thumbs that are always attached. I prefer something a little bit more specific, like a pen with letters on it. So here's my handy dandy pens here, and you can see there's a stack of letters on each one. So I'm gonna go ahead and start out with a basic stance, feet shoulder width or even a little wider at first. You could also go to seated or laying down if you needed to. Say these were too intense standing up for whatever reason for right now. Would we want to be able to do this standing up? Yes, of course. That's kind of a little bit of a warning flag. If it's hard to do this standing up, we're not getting a positive response from that, in that this visual skill needs some help. You need to work on it. You need to challenge it. But you want to do it in the body position right now that makes your other movements better. Maybe it's a squat, maybe it's a lunge, maybe you're checking like a shoulder range of motion, something like that. But just test something. Make sure you're checking something movement specific that you actually care about. It might be going up onto a step. It might be going up stairs. Could be standing on one leg. Could be like a hand coordination type task where you're trying to throw and catch a ball. But check something so that you know, hey, that made my movement better, or it didn't really change much, or it was noticeably worse. If it made you worse, we want to regress the body position. We might even want to go to like a single eye working on this at first, because that inhibits about half of the visual system, and it makes it a lot easier to manage for your brain, because then we just have the one eye to focus on instead of both working binocularly together. You'd progress back up to binocular, you'd progress from laying to seated, from seated to standing, and so on. So what are we going to work on here? Saccades are moving the eyes back and forth, in this case right to left, without moving your head. So I'm going to do that just slowly, methodically at first, and then if I can pick up speed without losing accuracy, still seeing each letter clearly as I go, we can start to build up some speed. Also working different angles, so we want to go vertical. This is going to activate the midbrain more. It's a little bit more sympathetic. It means it's going to kind of wake us up and get us amped up more. This would be more activating the medulla. And there's neural integrators for vision in the medulla. That's more calming. So that would be if we're too ramped up during a strength session, we want to calm things down, maybe some horizontal saccades. If we are finishing a session or trying to go to sleep, take a nap, go to bed at night, maybe some horizontal saccades. Wear out the visual system, get some of your visual practice in, and then it's also going to downregulate, activate more of the parasympathetics, which calms us down. Brain areas involved here, there's a bunch of them. By the way, make sure you do diagonals. Up to the left is awesome for your left cerebellum. left side joint coordination. So if I need a hand to coordinate, I need a shoulder to coordinate better on the left, or a hip or a knee or an ankle, and so on. I might want to do up and left saccades more than up and right. If it's more a right side joint coordination issue, I might want somebody to go after upright. Okay, so that's the basic positions: side to side, up and down, diagonals. Cool. The brain areas involved. We talked about the midbrain and the medulla. Side to side medulla, up and down midbrain. The cerebellum is involved in saccades. The temporal lobe is involved in saccades. We're going to see activation also in the pons. We're going to see activation in the parietal lobe, some in the occipital lobe, especially if you're dealing with targets that have color, that have letters, numbers, where there's shapes that you're recognizing on them. And a really cool one is the frontal lobe. In saccades, there's actually 3 different areas in the frontal lobe that are, so subcomponents or subparts of the frontal lobe, 3 different spots that are active. So these are awesome for the frontal lobe. What does the frontal lobe help with? Some other executive functions, decision making, partly involved in attention and focus, along with like the parietal lobe with attention and task switching there in the parietal lobe. So some really important areas to go after, and neurologically, if we keep them healthy in one area functionally, we're going to see positive ripple effects into other functions that area controls. So the idea with vision training isn't just limited to making your balance a little bit better, making your forward bend a little bit better. There's a bunch of other cognitive benefits and ripple effects that can come along with these. It's really hard to prove prevention. Other than a couple pens, I don't have like a huge profit margin. I'm not selling some $10,000 piece of equipment or something else that you can ingest into your body. So the idea here is on the preventative side, as things like cognitive decline increase. We're seeing increases in Alzheimer's, dementia. People are super concerned about brain health. The challenge with these exercises is there's research on them, but there's not a ton, and it's not exploding so much that most doctors in the world are trying to convince their patients, not their parents, but their patients to do eye exercises first. There might be a few out there. The community in Z Health and physical therapy, some things like that, we're starting to talk about it a little bit more. Elite sports, so people that are interested more in high-level sports performance, we're talking about vision training more there. But just wanted to kind of connect here with, as we talk neuroanatomy and activating the brain, keeping brain areas healthy, that you shouldn't underestimate what a few months of consistent practice here could potentially do. And you might want to note, hey, before I start vision training, so Brian's telling me I should do saccades for 8 minutes a day, gaze stability for 8 minutes a day, I should do near far for 8 minutes a day, and not necessarily every day, because that's a lot, but if we put each of these in 1 day per week, and you can start to get 8 minutes of each visual task, we're talking roughly about 40 minutes of vision training per week. If you do that, we're going to hit a sweet spot in the research, which in research literature, they're seeing that about 20 to 40 hours of practice is what's needed to make a long-term neuroplastic change in one of these systems and the brain areas associated with. So let's say you did this programming that we've laid out for you. We sent it out. So if you're not on our email list, you need to hop on. By the way, make sure that you're on there, because we've actually laid this out in a program for our email subscribers and our clients. And let's say you practice for 40 minutes a week and you want to make your visual system better. Okay, so these are good exercises to help you do that. 40 minutes a week is going to get you to the 20-hour mark in about 7 months. The cool thing about that, though, is if you will commit to doing this for 7 months, you're going to enjoy 19 months of benefit. So they've done research where they had people in the study, participants went through 20 to 40 hours of practice, whether it was vision training like we're talking about in this exercise, or vestibular, inner ear balance training exercises, one or the other. We pick a category, right? In the programming, we're actually giving you both. Bonus, we want our clients or people that we work with to keep both systems really healthy and on board. But you're going to see in that research literature, somebody practices, a participant goes after 20 to 40 hours of vision training. Their visual system, maybe they had some improvements in balance, they had some improvements in foot sensitivity, their agility, maybe there's some cognitive benefits in some of the studies. What they're finding though is 12 months later, without being a research participant anymore, so they stopped doing the exercises, unless maybe like some people secretly continued, but I don't think they were supposed to in these research studies. 12 months later, they're still enjoying the same level of improvement. So if you'll commit to doing it for 7 months, you're actually thinking in your mind, okay, month 2, 3, 4, maybe we're starting to see some of those benefits crop up. Then 12 months after the end of that 7 months, so now we're talking a total 19-month window, you're going to enjoy some of the benefits of this style of training. So in my opinion, why would you want it to degrade? Why would you want to start to play around with use it or lose it? Is there like, could you do a little less? Could you get away with not doing anything for 12 months? Absolutely. And then you could go back at it for 7 months. However you wanted to lay it out, but that's just the volume that we know is needed to make a positive neuroplastic change in the visual system or in the vestibular system. And then these brain areas that I'm talking through with you and giving you the neuroanatomy of what does the saccade do? What's the brain activation with a near-far exercise? So remember to subscribe to the channel. We're coming up with more vision ones shortly here. Near-far is the next one. And I hope this helps. Thanks.